Hey everybody, another day, another printer review. So tonight we're going to check out the Fokoos Odin-5 F3. So this guy, as you might be able to tell, is a very similar style to something like the Creality Ender 3 model. It uses the i3 style frame, and it comes with a 235 by 235 by 250 build area. A couple really nice things about this printer as compared to other ones that are, similar kind of style here. First and foremost, the ease of putting this together was bar none. Easiest printer I've put together by far. It was so simple. It was essentially just so this whole bottom was one piece and this top was one piece, except the spool holder that was not on there. It takes 30 seconds to put that on. So really all you do, it's like 4 bolts. This is insane how easy this is. So that bolt right there. We got another guy tucked away back there, if you can see that right here. Same thing on the other side. So because of these bolts being here, this printer is unique in that you can basically just remove, the back of this side and the back of this side, or the front of this side, the front of that side. I recommend the back. And then the whole thing can just fold right down. Does it fold flat? No, but it does make it much smaller and easier to transport. So that's huge. Another thing that sticks out for something like this guy, as you can see, we have one Z-rod and Z stepper motor, and on the other side another Z-rod and stepper motor. So having those 2 stepper motors lift the X gantry up like this, that makes it so you won't ever have to worry about, if it's just powered on one side, if it's powered on like this right side over here. With one, it just kind of like lifts it up and the other one comes along. But when there's 2 of them, they're going flat, together up at the same time. So that's pretty nice. Another really cool feature that these ones have, you got right here, a belt tensioner for the Y-axis. Another belt tensioner for the X-axis. They do use the Allen keys that go in here and you twist them and that'll pull this to kind of tighten it. So that's nice. A lot of printers don't have anything like that. A couple other great features. So a lot of other printers like this style, they have a whole mess of wires coming this way, and then the extruder's over here and the Bowden tube's coming in, and there's more wires going in the back, and then there's wires everywhere. You look down here, there's wires all over. It's not that bad, I'm exaggerating. But there's usually a lot of wires with 3D printers. This one is really cool because I'm just doing this slowly. Don't go yelling at me for moving this by hand. I know. It's really cool because it's this integrated ribbon cable. That's it. And the filament coming down, because we have ourselves here a nice direct drive extruder. So a lot of other printers this style, there'll be a mount back here and you have an extruder with a long rubber tube coming and going down in. So you're sitting over here with this extruder trying to push this whole length of filament through this long tube. These direct drive ones, they're much better. They're able to push and retract the filament with more control as compared to a Bowden style. That would be the tube coming in. That's a Bowden style. So if you're looking to print with flexible filaments like TPU, this makes it a really good candidate, because flexible filaments through a Bowden style, it doesn't work well. But flexible filaments through a direct drive style, which is what this is, really well. All right, other key differences for this guy. So right here, we have ourselves a nice volcano hot end. V6 nozzle as opposed to the MK8 that printers like the Ender 3 and others use. They use an MK8 style hot end and nozzle here, but this is a a V6 hot end with a volcano heater block here. They do come with this nice silicone stock that helps keep everything nice and warm inside. They also do a good job with their part cooling right here. I'm not a big fan of single blowing. It makes sense to me if you got like 2 different points of air one way or another, or a circle, or something more than one. But surprisingly, this guy did a really good job, all said and done. So I was pretty happy with that. Okay, so we're gonna go and we are gonna talk about the printer itself a little bit more here. So as you can see, it's not on, but this is our color touchscreen display. I'm gonna be quiet for just a second. I always like to pause before I turn the printer on, let everybody get a good sense of the ambient noise in my house here. And then we'll turn it on so you can see what the sound is actually like. So I'm gonna pause for about 3 seconds. Okay, so back here is our switch. Turn that on. We will get our display to come on. It says booting. Focus. All right, so our touchscreen color display. So it's got a really nice feature here. It's got a leveling thing, a leveling button built in. So let me be clear, it doesn't have an auto bed leveler. There's no BL touch, nothing like that. But it does have a nice built-in manual way of going around and leveling your bed. I apologize. I just realized I never talked about the bed. The bed, like I said, 235, 235, 250. And this is a glass Carborundum. I'm saying it wrong. I always say it wrong. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize, but it's that type of lattice glass, and it has these really nice clips on the side, low profile, so they don't take up a lot of space. They're not very obtrusive. Some of them kind of come in a good clip, but these are good clips. Okay, anyway, back to where we were. So with the leveling, as you can see, there's different points. If you press one of these, so this will go to the bottom left corner, that'll go to the bottom right corner, and so on. So you can just use this to kind of bounce the nozzle around to the different positions on the bed and use your piece of paper, you know, to make sure, standard printer paper, put it underneath, pull it back and forth. Once you start to feel a little bit of a grip to it, you get into a good spot. I always like to keep one corner, find one good corner, keep it in one spot, and keep kind of like bouncing back and forth from the different corners, just to get them all the same plane. Otherwise, I find that you just like to chase yourself around. Okay, we're not going to go through every single one of these, but I do want to print or point some of them out. So for example here, if you go to your extrusion, I believe it is. Yep. Nope. Sorry. Go to your preheat. And then from here, you can basically switch between the hot end or the bed and control it being preheated. Because you need to preheat it to get the extruder to pull filament down. Because if it's cold, they have safety feature built in that will not let this pull down because you don't want it to damage your nozzle. So you heat that up, and then once you have it preheated, pretty cool little feature here. I believe it's filament. Yeah, so filament. So you can just load or unload, and if your filament's down in there, it shouldn't go, you know, push it down until you can't go anymore. Get preheated, come into here and hit load, and it'll just load it really nicely all the way in. And you'll start to see the filament kind of like coming all spaghetti out the bottom. That's when you know you're good to go. All right, so in your settings, there are a whole lot of settings of different things to play with in here. I'm not going to go through them all, but I will tell you they give you access to a lot of different features and machine settings that you don't have access to on a lot of other printers. So really appreciative of that. I think that works out really great. All right, so let's go ahead and let's try to print something here. We're just going to print the test model that it came with. Got a little bit of filament left from the last print. Get that guy out of there. So as you can see, this is the test print model. It's actually pretty cool because this display here, you can get a render of what you're printing to show up. This is just a little calibration cube, so nothing special there. You do typically need a different plugin for, if you're using Cura, you need a different plugin for Cura to be able to get that to show up. It's not a normal thing, but it can be done, and it's pretty cool. So here, this is our display. This is the amount of time it's been running for. This is the current Z height. This is the temperature of the hot end. So right now it's showing as a temperature of 20 and it's set at 0. So we're basically at room temperature. This guy right here, It's 28 and it's set for 60 and it's climbing up, and that's the current state of the fan. It's not running. You can pause, you can stop. It does have power loss resume, so if you're in the middle of the print, you lose power, come back on, it'll ask you down here if you want to restart. You can just go ahead and do that. It's pretty neat. And in your options, you can use this baby step feature here. That's really nice because you can get your bed level, but if your nozzle is still too far away from the bed, doesn't matter how level it is, it's not going to print nicely. So this baby step will let you come in, and then your Z plus, Z minus, you switch between how much of a baby step you want. So we have 0.01 millimeter, so it'll raise or lower the Z axis by 0.01 millimeter, 0.05, 0.1. So you can really use this to kind of dial in the squish, as I like to call it, from the hot end down to the bed there. So what we're gonna do now, since this guy is gonna take a little bit to heat up and get running, I'm gonna take a break right here. I'll let this guy get going a little bit, and once it's rocking and rolling, we'll come back and take a look at it. All right, so we've been printing for about a half an hour here now. And actually I was playing around with this a little bit while I was having this print. I was just playing around with the speed a little bit, and I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised in a good way here. If you look, I actually have the speed bumped up to 140%. So, well, it's doing walls right now, but that's it doing infill right there. And as you can see, hopefully here, it's kind of hard to stay focused on a moving target, so I apologize, but as you can see, the detail inside that is actually pretty good. It does a good job. This thing can move pretty quickly and still do a really nice print. Okay, we are done. So this is just the little calibration cube. That is a test model print that came with this printer. Sorry, kind of spaced there for a second. Alright, so I want to try to get a little bits of different kinds of lighting on here, just so you guys can really see, the type of quality that this puts out. A lot of people just try to show you in the best possible light, but I want to try to show you guys in a handful of different kinds of lighting, but I'm not doing a good job here, am I? I think that came out really nice, actually. Maybe a little bit of salmon skinning there on the walls, but overall, that's pretty clean. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Oh, so this is where I was kind of playing with the bottom, trying to set the distance of that Z height there a little bit more. You can kind of see where it's tighter on this right side and a little looser over or in the middle here, as I was kind of playing between the two. So that's one finished model. So here is a benchy, and I just want to be transparent and clear. This bottom, that's from me. I had it too tight. I had the nozzle too tight to the glass, so that's why it's really crappy there at the bottom. But if you're looking at it otherwise, I think it came out pretty good. I didn't do any post-processing. That little bit of stringing there, that could probably be done away with by toying with the retraction settings a little bit or reducing the heat some. But overall, I think that one came out pretty nice too. Alright, well, there you have it. The Fokoos Odin is a really nice printer. It brings a lot of features to the table that things like the Creality Ender series may not have, right away, like I said, with the direct drive and the nice integrated cable system that it has here instead of the, wiring and tubes that go everywhere. But all right, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, like always, please feel free to ask them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Thanks a lot. Take care. Stay safe out there.